So today we are doing the notes on two-step equations. So we're going to start out with a little vocabulary first. Just move wrong way. Move this way. There we go. Alright, I'm going to zoom that in a little bit for us here. Oops, too much. There we go. Alright, two-step equations. So a couple of vocabulary words here. A constant. A constant is the number that is being added or subtracted with the variable. Number that's being added or subtracted. So in this example, 3x minus 5, my constant here is the 5. The other one is coefficient, which we've talked about before. Coefficient is the number that is being multiplied by the variable. It's always written right next to that variable. So if I look in this example, the 3 is my coefficient because it is what's being multiplied. Okay, so when I think about two-step equations, I think about if you were going to a party. If you're going to your best friend's party, you're there, a bunch of other random people are there, who's going to leave that party first? You, that best friend, or everybody else? Okay, and it's always, I think, the bestie is going to leave last. The randoms leave first. Right, that makes sense. You want to hang out with your best friend as much as possible. So everybody else, the randoms, are going to leave before you're going to leave that party. So when we think about these problems, think of yourself as the x. Okay, so the bestie is the one closest to you, and the random is the other one. And we're always looking on one side. So when I find the side with the variable, here we go. Okay, find the side with the variable. I'm going to find the bestie, the number closest to x. So here's the 2. Box that bestie. Now I'm going to underline the random. The random here is positive 1. Okay, so my bestie is 2, and my random is positive 1. Now I kind of have a plan, right? Because I know my first step is to get rid of the random. The second one's going to be to get rid of that bestie. So let me start with the random. Plus 1. We're doing the opposite here. So the opposite of plus 1 is minus 1. Both sides. 1 minus 1 cancels. 2x equals negative 9 minus 1, which is negative 10. Okay, so this here, this was my first step. Step 1, get rid of the random. Okay, now I'm ready to do my problem. I'm just going to put a line here so I know. Now it looks like a problem we've already done. This one-step equation with the bestie. So this bestie is being multiplied, so I'm going to have to divide. Remember, we're showing divide with that fraction bar right there. That means divide. So I'm going to divide. 2 over 2 is 1, so I just have x. And over here, negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. So there's my answer, negative 5. Well, of course, we want to check this, because that's how we can make sure we get these right. So let's do the check. I'm going to rewrite the problem. 2x plus 1 equals negative 9. Now for x, I'm going to plug in my answer here, my negative 5. So when I plug that in, I'll have 2 times negative 5 plus 1, and I'm trying to make sure that equals negative 9. Now I'm just going to go through this, doing GEMDAS, and when I go through this, I have 2 times negative 5, that's negative 10, plus 1, and again, trying to get it to equal negative 9. Negative 10 plus 1 is negative 9. So I did my check. That's true. Let's look at the next one. This first part of your notes up here, we're going to ignore that. So I'm just going to go on to the next problem. Next problem here, negative 3x plus 3.5 equals negative 11. Whoops, it just flipped us over. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to identify my bestie and my random. So the bestie's closest to the x, that's a -3, and my random is a plus 3.5. I'm just going to put labels just so you remember this is the bestie, and this is the random. So at the party, the random's going to leave first. So I need to get rid of plus 3.5. So the opposite of plus 3.5 is minus 3.5. And when I say minus, it's the same thing as saying negative. Negative 3.5 minus 3.5, same thing. Negative 3x comes down. And I would plug in negative 11.5 minus 3.5, which is negative 15. Okay, now I'm down to a one-step equation. So I need to get rid of that bestie, that -3, which is being multiplied. So I'm going to do the opposite of multiply here and divide. Dividing both sides here by -3. Alright, my -3's cancel to give me x. And -5 divided by -3 is a positive 5. Okay, so now I need to check it. Rewrite my equation over here, -3x plus 3.5 equals -11.5. Okay, there it is. And for x, I'm going to be plugging in the 5, that answer that I got when I solved the equation. So now I'm going to have -3 times 5 plus 3.5 equals -11.5. Okay, so doing that GEMDAS, I would need to do this multiply first, getting -15. Okay, and next step would be to add those two, which would give me -11.5. So because I got the same answer on both sides, I know my answer was correct. Let's look at the next one. Alright, bestie and random. The bestie's closest to the m, so that's going to be this dividing my -2. And my random is this plus 9. Remember, bestie and random are always at the same party, so they're on the same side of the equation. So getting rid of that random, opposite of plus 9 would be minus 9. My 9's cancel. 9 minus 9 is 0. I'm left with m divided by -2 equals 7 minus 9 is -2. So there's step 1. Got rid of the randoms. Now it's just you and the bestie. Okay, so let's get rid of that divide by -2 by flipping it to a multiply by -2. Okay, we're really trying to use the dot for multiply instead of an x so it's not confusing with the variable. These are going to cancel. M is equal to 4. M equals 4. Okay? There's my answer, and I'm going to plug this back into my equation. So I've got m over -2 plus 9 equals 7. Okay? And I'm going to solve this equation. So I'm solving this, plugging this back in. My m, as we said, was 4. Okay, so I'm going to plug that back in. So 4 divided by -2 plus 9, and I'm trying to get 7. Alright, so I'm going to do that division. 4 divided by -2 is -2. -2 plus 9, again, I'm trying to get 7. Let's move that down a little bit so you can see. There you go. -2 plus 9 is 7. 7 equals 7. That means that that was a correct answer. We have 2 more. Now, this one's a little bit trickier. Don't get confused. It just has an extra big fraction bar, that's all. So when I look at this, again, I'm looking for that bestie, that best friend closest to x. So the closest one to x here is this -4. So I'm going to box the bestie, leaving my 3 to be a random, so I will underline that. Getting rid of the random first. To get rid of divide by 3, I'm going to multiply by 3. Remember, everything's on both sides. Those 3's will cancel. X minus 4. I'm left with just that bestie. -2 times 3 is -6. Now I gotta get rid of the bestie, so I have to do the opposite of minus 4, which would be to add 4. Everything to both sides. Balance that equation. Negative 4 plus 4 is 0. I'm left with x over here. And on the left-hand side, I'm left with a negative 2. A negative 2. Okay? Negative 2. So I just want to make a note here. Some people get confused because my equal sign is kind of opposite on this one. We're used to seeing it more like this. These two equations are the exact same thing. Okay? It does not matter if I flip it. So that's the only difference here. So if it bothers you, you can always just flip it, put that answer on the other side. Okay? It's the exact same thing. So now here's my answer, that negative 2. And I'm going to have to plug it in to check. Oops, drop my pen. Give me a second here. There we go. Alright, so let's check this. I'm going to rewrite the equation. Negative 2 equals x minus 4 over 3. And I'm plugging in for x. I'm going to plug in that negative 2. Now I have negative 2 equals negative 2 minus 4 over 3. Okay, the first step here would be to do the top of that fraction. Negative 2 minus 4 is going to be negative 6. Again, all over 3. And then I just need to do my divide. So I'm hoping I'm getting negative 2 on both sides. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. There it is. Checked it. One more. Now I said these two were a little bit harder. They're not actually that much harder. You just have to think a little bit more. So with this one, we've been talking about that bestie and that random. When you look at the bestie and random, we've been boxing or underlining the sign that comes with it. So you want to make sure that you're looking in front of the term. Alright, so in this example, when I look at this, my bestie is 2. That would be a positive 2 because the plus is in front of the 2. My random is negative 9 or minus 9 because that minus symbol is right in front of the 9. Okay? I don't want you to get confused that there's a plus here because that plus belongs to the y and the 2. That just means both of those are positive. So let's do it. Let's get rid of that random. That's a minus 9, so I'm going to add 9. Both sides. 9's cancel. Left with y divided by 2 is equal to 14 plus 9, which is 23. Now my second step, to get rid of that bestie, that divide by 2, I'm going to have to multiply, doing the opposite. (23 times 2 is 46. There's my answer. Alright, let's check it. Plug that equation over here. Negative 9 plus y over 2 equals 14. And of course for the y, I will be plugging in my 46. Negative 9 plus 46 divided by 2 equals 14. Okay, so I need to do that division first, so I'm going to be left with 23, bringing down my negative 9 here. And then I'm going to add. So negative 9 plus 23 is going to give me 14. Both sides equal 14. That is correct. So these are our notes for two-step equations. These are our two-step equation notes.